mountains surrounding Sichuan Basin can soar over 13,000 feet and deliver spectacular views. Swinging around each bend, Jaya and I talk about the semi-trailers that would be needed to move tanks of water and gas up and down these hills. Experts agree that poor infrastructure could limit fracking in this remote part of China. But so too will a very human problem: widespread corruption and land grabs.
哎呦，我那个地啊，说起当时就很使我到今天都还得很心酸。1米几，人家组里面1米几，这个说是我说明了，我们这是哪个单位来征用，结果把我这放到这儿，我真的我们想到这里说。
The struggle over land, who owns it, what's it worth, and who benefits from the sale of it, is this kind of grand drama at the center of contemporary China.
It often seemed to me that if there were any surprising developments someplace in China, the first place you would look for an explanation would be a real estate deal.
Yang Wanmin says that a corrupt local official artificially suppressed the price of his land by up to half of what it was worth and pocketed the rest.
The modernization that has given many rural families some opportunity in the city has been very closely connected with just the pillage of their land by people in position to pillage it, usually the local or provincial authorities who have some deal in mind.
因为大家当时为了想到这个是这个国家这个开发，那么尽量嘛是想到支持，没想到他那个这个赔偿标准高级来搞投我30多万的话，你就没办法了。
That's nearly $50,000 US. Even after the local official was finally investigated and locked up, Yang Wanmin says he never got his money back. It's an understatement to say he got ripped off, big time.
我这一生当然现在我50几了，像我们都可以说是但我这一生啊，就说拿来只是保持基本生活，我都可以保了，下一辈人就不好安置了。
You know, the plot of land in which they raised their crops, they fed their pigs, they had their chickens, and suddenly it is just like Dickensian England or Upton Sinclair era America of weak people in a communist system being more victimized than they are now in most capitalist systems.
Poor peasants hardly want to complain, especially if they're promised a front row seat to the revitalization of local economies, decimated by the movement of workers to big cities. Residents living next to these new wells are in a tricky position. Protest is a daunting option, and local officials ride roughshod over their rights.
难得说来这一群对我们农民一点好处没得，只能够说着了，你根本不敢当了的，那点机器你不敢当了停了嘛。
Heavy-handedness is the norm.
When individuals in China attempt to confront the Communist Party, they run up against this dark, sinister undercurrent of threats, intimidation, a parallel legal system that can confront them on its own terms.
In this community, government officials working with Shell and CNPC promised locals a package of pensions to pay them back for the land. But this town leader says it never eventuated.
现在镇里面还没有把这个户跟我们入进去啊，你说怎么搞的啊？现在3年了嘛，我们就亏得多了嘛。他们镇里面就是乱搞啊，这是当官的骗老百姓了，蒙哄老百姓了。
They basically stole the land.
要不人家警察还来呀，人家就给断了的车，断车又不是办法，是吧？你万一断很了呢，那过不到啊，过不到车的话呀，那就去找政府，政府就了，只要那样的压人些。
If people protest, there could be massive consequences for them.
Despite obvious risks, China has in recent years witnessed a surge in public protests, especially over energy and chemical projects that locals say could be environmental disasters.
Some individuals in some areas of China have found that the government is embarking on projects that would completely destroy their livelihoods. And at this point, they feel like they have nothing left to lose.
One as recently as March drew hundreds of people, fueled by the organizing power of widespread social media.
Every year in China, there are, on average, 180,000 acts of civil unrest, perhaps more, but the government doesn't report the statistics anymore. And so what you've seen in city after city is that people who, I think 5 or 10 years ago, never would have joined a demonstration or joined a protest are now willing to do that. And that's exerting pressure on the government that it has no choice but to respond to.
While there is powerlessness, we also found an understanding of rights and a desire to be heard.
服务于的是国家，服务于的是一些镇政府啊，那些个。
Most of all, we found a steely resilience to the farmers we spoke to, who want their grievances to be known.
This is about health, and this is about survival.